not rigging elections. Why is that?
Jere dzikawashoma muwiri mudoro wakura chinokanganiswa nenjere muwiri ndivo unoripa. Jere dzikawashoma muwiri mudoro wakura chinokanganiswa nenjere muwiri ndivo unoripa.
Good afternoon, viewers, and welcome to yet another edition of The Situation Right Now. And this is the program that all Zimbabwe watches. This is the program that gets everybody thinking. And we are proud to offer you the hottest socio-economic and social interviews on this platform. The Situation Right Now. And I'm your host, Dara Blessed Mhlanga. Now, we are coming in with this special show where we are going to be talking about something that is unfolding, something before it happens. And this is an interesting issue because we have just got information that the MDC province in the United States of America is planning or is in the process of challenging the December 27 in 2020 extraordinary Congress. In essence, they want to challenge in Zimbabwe's High Court the victory of one Douglas Mwonzora and reverse those results because they think that whatever was done was not above board, and they have also many other complaints that they're also taking to court. So I'm joined here in studio via Zoom from the United States, Dan Moyo, who is the chairperson of that province, and he speaks to us this afternoon. Thank you very much, Dan, for joining me in studio. Now, just take us through what is it exactly you are doing to challenge Douglas Mwonzora's victory on December 27.
Thank you, Blessed, for inviting me to your show. And thank you for continuing to shine a spotlight on this very important issue. It is issues like this that will determine the future of Zimbabwean opposition's continuance as a viable alternative to the draconian ZANU-PF rule that has continuously failed our country for the past 41 years since independence. Now, Zimbabwe needs a strong, credible, trusted, people-centered opposition party that can bring reprieve to the toiling masses once it gets into power. The question becomes, what will MDCT do on day one if it were to wrestle power from ZANU-PF? Now, in order to answer that question, one has to look at the current leadership in the party and ask themselves if one, is this leadership democratically elected? Two, does it adhere to the party constitution, the party's values, and the party's ethos? And thirdly, is it honest? Is it genuine? Is it accountable? Is it transparent? So if the answer to any of the three questions I posed above is a no, then you cannot honestly vouch that such an organization can bring real change that will see the nation, the real change that the nation of Zimbabwe seeks. So it is on that basis that as MDC USA province, which is a constitutionally mandated organ of the party, we are mounting this challenge on the leadership that emerged from the chaotic and shambolic extraordinary Congress of December 27. That EOC did not rise to the expected levels as per our constitution. Furthermore, we've witnessed attempts by the National Council to once again violate the party constitution by amending it to allow for a second vice president, even though the National Council does not have constitutional authority to do so. Only the ordinary Congress has powers to amend the constitution. So as a province, we refuse to rubber stamp unconstitutional moves, which is the very reason we had the Supreme Court rule in the Mashavire case that Chamisa's ascendancy to the empty seat presidency was unconstitutional. Now, Frank Einstein once stated that the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again while expecting different results. It has taken the Independent Electoral Management Board, the IEMB, that oversaw the Extraordinary Congress over 4 months.
Then let me stop you there. We will get into those issues as we move on. But I want to know what exactly is your step of action? Are you approaching the High Court? And if so, when are you likely to do that?
Yes, we are approaching the High Court. As you know, to come up with a strong case, you have to take your time to gather all the necessary evidence. You don't want a half-baked lawsuit that will end up failing to achieve its intended results. So we're taking our time, interviewing people who were present at the Extraordinary Congress, people who were attacked at the Extraordinary Congress, the events that unfolded, people who witnessed a different voters' roll being presented from the one that they used, people who witnessed non-members being passed in that they didn't, who were not delegates, being allowed to vote at the Congress, people who witnessed genuine delegates being denied their right to vote at that Extraordinary Congress. You saw yourself blessed that how shambolic and chaotic that Extraordinary Congress was. The then acting president even went on record and denounced what was going on there and wanted to shut down the whole process because of how shambolic it was. So it is all those things that as a party we have to address. We cannot just sweep under the carpet.
But you are not a candidate, and the candidates seem to have kissed and made up. And now Dr. ZANU-PF is serving as a vice president, sitting next to Mwonzora, who's the second vice president. So why are you complaining?
We are complaining because we are part of rules. We're a party that is guided by its constitution. And this challenge is not addressed just at Douglas Mwonzora. This court challenge is addressed at the whole leadership that allowed that chaotic, shambolic Extraordinary Congress to occur the way it did. So the defendants, they include Dr. ZANU-PF, it includes Chairman Komichi, it includes Vice President Mwonzora, it includes the 4 contestants and the party as well, because we cannot allow such to happen and pretend that everything is honky-dory and that we can be a government in waiting when we can't get our house in order.
But why are you? Some would argue that you have the backing of Dr. ZANU-PF on this because she was the first one to openly challenge this EOC.
Well, Dr. ZANU-PF has not come to us and said she wants to be part of the challenge. As far as we are concerned, and we've made it clear even to her that she is also a person that is accused for failing to make this happen, for failing to adhere to the party constitution. So Dr. ZANU-PF might have challenged what happened at the EOC based on what she witnessed on that day. But ours is a challenge not to push for one candidate over the other. Ours is a challenge to put our house in order, because we cannot be trusted by the Zimbabwe. We cannot even seek the trust of the Zimbabwean people when we fail to do simple things as organize an extraordinary Congress to come up with a leader to replace the late Dr. Morgan Tsvangirai. It's been a very long time for us to get to that point where we can say now we have a credible leader.
Do you have confidence in the top leaders in your standing committee, given that you are now challenging all of them and accusing them of failing to live by the constitution of the party?
Clearly, within the standing committee, there's always the ultimate leader, who's the president. So in our opinion, the person who's claiming to be the president now bears the brunt of all our accusation. The others, in most cases, they are just there because they are part of the leadership, but they don't have or have all the powers that are vested in the president as per our constitution.
Are you saying the president has got absolute powers?
The constitution does not give the president absolute powers.
Why are you giving him absolute powers right now?
I am not giving him absolute powers. I'm saying that he is the leader, he's the head of the organization, and therefore much of the blame falls on the person that sits in that office. Not to say that our party is an authoritarian party that with power centered on one person. The power is never centered in one person within the MDCT. Hence, when we are suing the party, we are suing the party and those leaders, those in the leadership, especially the four people who contested the Extraordinary Congress.
So would I be fair then to say that all these problems fall squarely on the hands of then acting President Thokozani Kupe, because she was the head of the party and was supposed to ensure that that constitution, that EOC lived to the standards of the constitution?
Exactly. As the head at the time, the majority of the blame goes to her for failing to lead us to a proper extraordinary Congress. But to her defense, she has an administrative person, people within the party that handle certain things that as it turns out, it looks like things went beyond her control. And therefore we witnessed what we witnessed: money that was meant to transport delegates being misappropriated, missing right at the 11th hour, the day before the Congress, when that money should have been sent to our delegates for their transport. That money went missing. And all the fingers point to the Secretary General at the time, Douglas Mwonzora, who's also the chief administrator of the party, as being the person who authorized that money to be withdrawn from the party coffers. And now that money could not be accounted for.
I'm trying to follow your train of thought here. Mm-hmm. When it was Dr. Thokozani Kupe, the Secretary General was at fault. When it's now Douglas Mwonzora, we're not talking about the Secretary General anymore, Paulina Mpaliwa. So aren't you sort of targeting a person other than the office?
No, we are targeting the results of the Extraordinary Congress, which now led to the officers that you are mentioning. These officers that now have been put in the National Standing Committee, they are all as a result of what transpired at the EOC. I cannot now, accuse Paulina Mpaliwa of any wrongdoing, because even though she was in the Standing Committee, she was the secretary, she was the Deputy Secretary General. We do not have anything to show that she had in any way, shape, or form contributed to the chaos that we saw on the 27th. So really, our objective is to put the party back on course, because we should have a mechanism, a self-correcting mechanism that says, if we see the party veering off course, it should be brought back. And us as custodians of the party, as officers of the party, as organs of the party, should be the people that bring those issues to the front and make sure that they are addressed.
Do you think you can bring back your party on the rails? Because when the Supreme Court judgment came, you told us you're bringing back your party to the rails. Now you seem to be saying it's off rails again.
Exactly, and therefore we are saying that we have not fulfilled the demands placed on us by the Supreme Court when he told us to go back and re-elect properly using our 2014 structures to elect a new leader of the party. That the EOC we witnessed on the 27th fell short of that, and therefore we cannot say that the decision, the rule that the Supreme Court made has been fulfilled. It has not in our minds, and therefore we feel we have to go back to the drawing board to get that addressed.
Do you think your party even has the rails to put it back to?
Oh yes, the rails.
You're fighting on multiple fronts. Right now, the people of Zimbabwe do not have confidence in you after you participated in the amendment number 2 bill, voted for it, and you gave your party leadership is struggling to give sound reason of why they did it.
Okay, first and foremost, the rails are the people. And in order for us to put the party back on the rails, is we have to put the party back to where the people want it to be, as expected by the people, because this is a people's party. Secondly, on the issue of the Second Amendment, of course, we failed as a party to unite and vote with one accord against the bill. We saw people in the lower house divided, some voting for the amendment and others voting against. We saw the same in the Senate. So what that tells us is that the leadership is not united, is not thinking as one when they are addressing such fundamental important issues that have serious implications on the country as a whole. So these are all the things that, had we addressed these issues at the beginning, had we followed our constitution, even in 2018 when Morgan Tsvangirai died, if we had just adhered to our party constitution, we would have been stronger as an opposition, because we were already strong then. We are the biggest opposition party in the country. What has happened is that certain individuals became greedy, became selfish, and pursued self-aggrandizement over the will of the people. And that is why we find ourselves where we are. It was very simple. What does the Constitution say? And we just follow the Constitution to the T. This perpetual violation of our Constitution is what has brought us to where we are, where we have these problems that now we are failing to manage.
This is why I'm asking you, Dan. On, like, seriously, you have leaders who are perpetually greedy, because you had the first issue where you say leaders in 2018 were greedy. Now you are in 2020, your leaders are greedy, and your leaders cannot stand up and say this is wrong. They wait for Mashavires. Now they are waiting for a Dan Moyo to come and challenge, but they'll be sitting there in standing committees, drinking tea, driving cars, and going to parliament.
I'll apportion a majority of the blame on our members who allow this to continue perpetually. Our members have to have the temerity to hold our leaders to account. It is within their democratic right in the party to challenge, without fear or favor or prejudice, any wrongdoing. The problem is we have this big brother mentality where we have individuals who, once they've tested that power, they think now they are rulers over the people and not leaders. We want leaders and not rulers over the people. We have, MDC is a very big institution that has been in existence for over 21 years now. And that institution was built by the people, for the people. And therefore, the people should be the ones who are the arbiters of what transpires in the party. The people should not fear, because every time the people are threatened with recalls, people are threatened with expulsions, And that breeds fear in people, and people then do not exercise their democratic right of free expression and being able to challenge wrongdoings and force accountability and transparency onto the leadership.
So if I were to say, then, that your leaders right now in the MDC, they are driven by personal need and love for power and trinkets, what would be your response?
Well, I blame most of that on the economy that is deteriorated significantly.
You agree? But would you agree?
I do agree that it's now the politics of the stomach for some of our leaders, because some of them don't even have jobs or businesses or genuine income generating projects besides relying on whatever they are getting from either the party or the government, if they happen to be an MP or a Senate. So that politics of the stomach is what has driven our people now to just settle for mediocrity, I would say, where they just accept things just because it's for survival purposes and not necessary for what is right.
You recently, the people who ran your elections, I think it was just yesterday, they released a report. Have you got sight of that report? No.
And that's the point I was trying to make, that, look, it took those people 4 months to come up with the report of the Extraordinary Congress. And up to now, official organs of the party have not received that report. Yet we have a leadership in existence already that has been exercising powers since December 27 without an official report that supports that power. We will be derelict our duty as custodians of the party if we allow such a travesty to prevail under our watch. We should speak truth to power and say, okay, so what happens if that report is damning? It's coming 4 months later. Will we then say, it's been overtaken by events, everyone has accepted what transpired, we are moving on? That is wrong. We cannot continuously do things like that and say they've been overtaken by events. It's now a moot point, or whatever that report is saying does not matter anymore. That's what encourages corruption in the leadership.
The report, I have part of the report, and on part of the findings of this report, it says that at least 95% of the delegates that turned out to vote had their names in the voters' roll or the supplementary roll or the verified provincial list, according to the National Council resolution, managed to cast their vote despite some of them having to do so late into the night. So 95% of your eligible Congress members cast their vote according to this report.
That is a blatant lie. To start off with, if you look at the results of that, how many people, the total number of people that voted there was like 1,200 or something like that, out of 4,500 delegates in the MDC. So that Extraordinary Congress in its own did not have a quorum to start off with. So for the IEMB to come up and say 95% is a blatant lie. And we should call that out for what it is. We did not have a quorum in that Congress. What should have happened is the Congress should have been, whoever was in charge should have said, we don't have a quorum here, let's reschedule. And the reason we did not have a quorum is why? Because we failed to pass our delegates to the Congress because somebody had taken the money. So we should always state the truth, and the truth will get us back the confidence from the people to say that we are a viable opposition and we are in this to win it, not to be seen as now being seen as an appendage to ZANU-PF, having been seen to have now voted with them in changing the amendment and so on and so forth. Those are the things that we have to avoid at all costs, because those are the things that are costing to us as a party. The party is bleeding now, losing members because of such behavior.
The report also says that there were no formal complaints raised by other candidates.
That's a lie again. We have videos of formal complaints. So I don't know where this IEMB was at the time when all this was happening. So to me, that speaks to one thing. Somebody either told them what they should write or threatened not to pay them, because they were not there doing it. They were not doing it for free. They were there to be paid. And therefore, maybe it's the reason why this report has taken 4 months to come out. Maybe there was dispute between who's supposed to pay the IEMB and what the report, the contents of the report. So the IEMB eventually capitulated, in my opinion, and said, you know what, let's just give them what they want and we get paid. Because we know for sure that's not the truth.
Mm. And the report also, I just want to just pick your mind on some of the report findings. The report says that there were cases where some delegates' names did not have national ID numbers, or some had spelling errors to their names. They were all allowed to vote after verification of their authenticity by the commissioners and had their ID numbers captured by the polling officers as per the agreement that had been made by the IEMB and the candidates. Is this also...
So Blessed, let me put it this way. Since this is a court case that's impending, I don't want to jeopardize it by revealing everything we've uncovered so far. That will be the basis of our court case. I will be doing injustice to our lawsuit if I sit here and tell you exactly what we already know, because that's handing it over to them now to go and challenge us. But so all I can say now is that
does this report excite you or anger you in any way?
This report actually angers me. Like I said, I have not seen it. It has not even been circulated in any of our groups or anywhere to the provinces. As the provincial chairman myself, I have not received it, yet I have requested it. And I've been told in the past that it was going through whatever channels, I don't know what channels those were, which leads me to my speculation that obviously it was being cooked. So the fact that what you are reading there on its own is very disturbing. It's because
I'll favor you with the report.
Yeah, I'll appreciate that, my brother, because at least
before you.
Yeah, you see, that's how it goes sometimes in our party, simply because they wanted to push a certain narrative within that report. They wanted people to come out saying, oh, the report generates the activities, what transpired on the 27th. So to make us look like just mere noisemakers, yet we are raising important issues here that people should really sit down, analyze, digest, and see how what is happening right now, how is that helping the party? How is that advancing our cause? How is that advancing the struggle?
At one point, you were ejected from a National Council meeting. Is it you or a member of the United States branch?
It was our secretary, Andrew Chaponda. He brought up motions in the National Council that are directly linked to what we're talking about today. One was with the issue of the voters' roll, that the voters' roll, there were allegations that that voters' roll was not the same one that was agreed to by all the other presidential candidates. Two, that delegates were denied their rights to vote, while some non-delegates were allowed to do so. Thirdly, that there was no quorum, which is the same thing that I brought up here. And the fourth thing, that there was violence. We saw the acting president then being slapped on camera. Now you tell me that you can consider that a legit EOC where the then acting president is slapped. Obviously, there was violence in there. So Chaponda brought those issues at the first National Council. And also, one needs to understand the role of the National Council that precedes in any of our congresses, whether it's the extraordinary Congress or it's the ordinary Congress. That first National Council, it is only one job on that day. That job is to discuss the unfinished business of the extraordinary Congress, to ratify the results as National Council, and then from then on, other issues can be discussed. None of those were done at that National Council, which is why Chaponda brought those motions, tabled those motions, and nobody wanted to discuss those issues. So instead, they considered him a nuisance by continuously raising those issues to be discussed, and they ejected him from the meeting.
But your party is legendary of saying that you are rational disputers.
Well, that is what we want to be, and that is what we aspire to be. But it's one thing to say something and do the other. You know, we have people who are now preaching rational disputation as the #1 core value of the party. I wouldn't say they are incorrect in that, but their actions should support what they say. So far, we have not seen those actions supporting what is being said. And therefore, we need to correct that. We need leadership that is genuine leadership that cares for the advancement of our cause. We cannot continue with leaders that just focus on themselves and what they want out of the party.
And you believe this leadership that you have is not that leadership you want?
Well, based on the issues that I've raised, certainly not. They are not rising to that level. I'm not saying they're bad people per se. I'm saying that we, the people, need to use the power we have vested in us to make sure that we hold them accountable, so that they be the leaders that we know they can be.
There's the issue of 6 million that continues to come day and night within your party. Are you a party of thieves?
Well, if money is being stolen, you can call us that. But you cannot label all of us as party of thieves. You cannot paint us all with the same brush. Yes, we have individuals within the party who are thieves, but it's not all of us. So the issue of the 6 million is a very serious issue. It has been reported to the police. There is a case number. There are statements that have been taken by the police from senior leaders of the party, who also allude to the fact that, yes, the money did go missing. And I understand, I hear from yesterday's standing committee that there are attempts now to force those leaders to withdraw their statements from the police. Now, we cannot allow that to happen. If somebody is innocent, why then would you want to force people to withdraw statements from the police? All you have to do is to go and prove your innocence. And that is really what is required at this point.
Your leaders have in the past been forced to let go of a number of things. I remember Senator Komichi, who's your chairperson, saying that he felt that it was the party who had a bigger cause, so he would let go of his complaints of extraordinary Congress to pursue the bigger cause. So in this instance, where you are saying that the standing committee is trying to muscle people from pursuing the police case, are we not likely to see them again saying the party has a bigger cause and leaving this case hanging?
Certainly, I can see that happening, because there is a tendency within our leaders to say just exactly that the party is bigger than the individual, which it is. But we cannot use false equivalence to say just because we're saying the party is bigger than the individual, therefore we should allow certain intransigencies to occur and not be questioned. So to me, it's lack of leadership. Yes, the party is bigger than the individual, but for you to allow bad things to happen in the party, it reminds me of the Republicans here in the US, where Trump was standing on a podium and saying, I can actually walk out of here and shoot people in the street and they're still gonna vote for me. Now, that to me, that shows a lack of morality in the individual who says to themselves, I'm untouchable, I can do things, and people are going, there's nothing they're going to do about it, because they value the appearances, they value the party being seen as a united force. United under what?
Are you angry at well, let me rephrase that. What is your reaction to your party voting together with ZANU-PF to pass the Constitutional Amendment Bill number 2?
I'm not happy. And I know also that ZANU-PF was tricky in the way they presented that amendment. They threw in clauses there that if you don't take time to actually understand what those clauses were saying, you would think that they were doing the women and the youth a favor, when in actual fact, they were not, because already the Constitution allows for a 50-50 quota in Parliament. It's already something that is constituted. You cannot say you are giving me something that I already have. So they were just promised thin air. So what needed to be done was for us as a party to educate those legislators to see what the bill was, to see it for what it was, and not to be duped to think that because there's these clauses that support women and youth, therefore we should be compelled to vote for them. Otherwise, we'll be seen as though we're voting against ourselves. Because obviously, if I'm a woman and I'm seeing that clause, I'm gonna think, oh yeah, I have to vote for this clause. But there were some who were informed. For instance, like Dr. Thokozani Kupe in the lower house, she was informed knowing, and therefore she voted no. So as a woman. So all I'm saying is
was it lack of information, or there was something underhand? Because just hours before the Tuesday vote, your party released a banner which it circulated on Twitter, actually encouraging your legislators in Senate to vote for the bill, because the statement that they released was, the omnibus bill also seeks mandatory proportional representation of women in all urban and rural councils in Zimbabwe. 30% of councillors must be women. Senate will vote on the bill at 2 p.m. Now,
yeah, once again, obviously there were certain elements in the party leadership that were propagating for reasons best known to themselves. Some of them we feel because there are cases pending on them and they need protection from ZANU-PF, and maybe a gun is being held to their head by ZANU-PF and being told, in order for us not to proceed with this case, you need to do ABC, and they're doing it to save their skin, because no one in their right mind, especially if you look at the pamphlet you're talking about, it's got somebody's head there, and that person there claims to have been the one who actually was part of the constitution writing process, the constitution we currently have. How can you have put something, agreed to something in a constitution when it was being written that now you are against it? Because now what is the real reason behind it? Why can't we be honest with our people and stop treating them like kindergartners, people who don't think? They are already going through a lot. People just want to see change in Zimbabwe. They just want to see ZANU-PF removed from power. And they are willing to believe anything these days that their leaders tell them is the path to that. But if we have unscrupulous leaders who are doing things, who are doing certain things just to safeguard their interests, then we are in deep, deep trouble. Because then who knows? Tomorrow, Nangagwa and ZANU-PF can decide, we are amending the constitution that there won't be elections anymore. And what are those people going to do now? Are they still going to pursue their politics of the stomach? One thing I know is never take money from ZANU-PF. Because once you take money from ZANU-PF, you are in deep trouble. They'll never let go because you have dined. It's just like dining with the devil. It's like selling your soul to the devil.
Do you think there are leaders within your party who have taken money from ZANU-PF?
Well, why? I fail to find any other reason why you would support ZANU-PF moves if you are not benefiting from them. The whole purpose of us as an opposition party is to oppose the wrong things that are being done by ZANU-PF. You can't tell me that this amendment that allows ED to now be the sole person who appoints judges. We have three levers of power in Zimbabwe. We have the executive, the judiciary, and the legislative. They are supposed to be equal. And now you have one branch of the government superseding all the other branches and now taking over the other branch in terms of the judges that run that branch. That's killing democracy. And you want to tell me that that is okay because there was a clause on women, which is already in the Constitution? That's nonsense, in my opinion. And I mean, we should call it what it is. Just stop duping people and making people look like fools just because they are hungry. People are hungry for change. They want jobs. They want to see the country develop. We've been left behind. Zimbabwe has regressed 50 years, in my opinion, from the time Smith left it in 1980. I am from Bulawayo, and I can tell you right now that there's not been any infrastructure development in Bulawayo. Instead, the industries that were all over there in Bulawayo, that were making Bulawayo its renowned name of ZANU-PF, where the smoke comes out, was because of the manufacturing industries that were in Bulawayo. They are no longer there. So you tell me that we have advanced as a country. I don't see that. And people want that change. And we cannot continuously have leaders that are shooting us in the foot, that are actually pulling us back when we're trying to move forward.
I presume that you're supposed to have an ordinary Congress anytime soon. So is it not in your best interest to push for ordinary Congress and let EOC be?
You see, once again, you're asking me to push things under the carpet, and I refuse to do that. The ordinary Congress should go ahead as per our Constitution. It should not be predicated by what's going on regarding the EOC. The EOC was a non-event, in my opinion, and therefore the leadership that currently is sitting there, they are there illegitimately. The same way Chamisa said is the leader of the MDC Alliance illegitimately for almost 3 years and still claims to be right now. If you are illegitimate, if you were illegitimate yesterday, you'll be illegitimate today. It doesn't matter. It would be a good thing, of course, to go ahead with the ordinary Congress, because then we can usher in, as long as it is done correctly, according to our Constitution, then we can usher in leaders that are voted in by the people. But it doesn't take away what happened at the extraordinary Congress. That should be a lesson that we should not repeat again. And the only way we can do that is to have a court judgment that rules that event as null and void.
There are people who have argued that the courts are captured and they do the bidding of ZANU-PF. And right now, just earlier on, you said that it appears that your leader, Douglas Mwonzora, could have taken money from ZANU-PF. Now, are you then confident that anything will come out in your court appeal?
Well, I didn't say he took money from ZANU-PF, so don't misquote me. I said that maybe ZANU-PF promised him something. Maybe they promised them no, they won't pursue the case that is pending with the police, because they have that power. They choose which cases to prosecute and which cases not to. So I don't want to be misconstrued that I said he took money, because I don't have evidence of that. All I'm saying is that there must have been a favor, a quid pro quo, that occurred for him as the writer, author of the Constitution, to go against what he believed in not so long ago when the Constitution was written. So either they put a gun to his head, or they promised him something, and that's something I can think of right now is the issue of the police case, the crimes that were committed with the missing funds from the party. And going to your question about the judges being captured, it's exactly the reason why we should have voted no for this amendment. Because if we want our judges to be independent, not to depend on their benefactor or who appointed them, we are creating that situation ourselves as Zimbabweans by giving powers to the president to capture the judges. Even if they were not captured now, they will be captured for sure.
Mm-hmm. So my question is then, do you have confidence that you might get justice in your case?
Well, I have confidence that if we present a strong case and we get a judge that is rational, that sees it for what it is, just like the judge who ruled in the Mashawire case. In my opinion, that judge used his experience and knowledge in looking at the evidence and making a judgment that I believe, though many people who are Chamisa supporters feel that that judgment was incorrect, I don't think so, because I know our party constitution. I know it was violated. So anyone who took the time to read our constitution would feel the same way. So it is in that same spirit when we present our case. If we don't have enough evidence for a judge to make an informed and impartial decision, then it's not on the judge, it's on us. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's imperative and important that our case is solid when we go there. And so that we don't have to then blame the judge as being captured or pursuing a certain agenda that's different from what we were suing for.
So when are we likely to see this case before the court?
Remember there was we had the lockdowns and COVID and all that, and COVID is still prevalent. People are still dying. And so they still fear. So we're not able to have our guys on the ground move around freely to gather all the evidence and all the witnesses. We have since now things are starting to open up a little bit. So we're seeing now things picking up. When we talk to our lawyers, they're giving us good feedback that the things they require for us to have a strong, solid case, they are all coming in. So I can't give you a specific date. And frankly, I'd like to surprise our detractors when it happens.
So maybe a month or so?
Well, Mashawire took 2 years, so we're not in a hurry. We will get there when we get there, when we know that we're able to present a solid case.
But don't you think that you might run out of time and get your case dismissed on technicalities that you didn't file within a reasonable time frame?
No. We are very much aware of that. We are very much aware of the compliance and regulatory requirements for our case. So that shouldn't be an issue at all. It's a known fact. We are dealing with professional lawyers who understand the Zimbabwean law and what the requirements are for us to proceed with our case. Like I said, it took 2 years for the Mashawire verdict to come out. We will continue. We will soldier on, but we know that we have a case that needs to be addressed, and we look forward to the decision that will come, the judgment that will come out of that case.
Now we are run out of time, Dan. But before we leave, I would want you to address the president of your party, who you say is illegitimate, Douglas Mwonzora. I also want you to address the party supporters and the people of Zimbabwe.
Yeah, my message to Senator Douglas Mwonzora, who I affectionately call Mkomadagi, is Mkomadagi, do the right thing by the people. I know you personally as a good-hearted person, and I know that power sometimes is a tendency to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Don't allow yourself and your soul to be tainted just for the sake of power. Do what is right. I have told you personally that had the EOC gone accordingly, I would have been the very first person to congratulate you. Up to now, I failed to find reason to do that on the basis of what transpired. This is not personal. This is not about you as an individual. This is about us correcting the wrongs in the party and making sure that we can build a strong, formidable party that can challenge ZANU-PF. To our members in the MDC, I'm saying, I would like to say, don't lose hope. These things that we are doing are not meant to destroy the party, but they are meant to build the party. In order for the party to survive with integrity, honor, it needs us. These are the pains of democracy. We have to go through these pains in order for us to come up with a product that all of us will be proud of. We once had an MDC under Morgan Tsvangirai that we're all proud of. We can still have that MDC as long as we adhere to the party principles, the party values. There is hope at the end of the tunnel. We just need to come together and not allow ourselves be able to speak truth to power and not allow ourselves to fail to challenge failed leadership when we see it. And to the people of Zimbabwe in general, I want to say our prayers are with the nation as we go through this COVID situation. Please do vaccinate. I know that we don't have enough supplies, but we have countries now like the US offering to send surplus vaccines to countries that are in need. I hope and pray that Zimbabwe is going to be one of those countries that's going to receive the vaccines because we do want to keep the hope alive in our people. We know that they have suffered for too long, but I say hope is coming. Stay strong, stay focused. Change will surely come.
Thank you very much, Dan, for joining us and for sharing your insights. We do wish you the best in your endeavors and what you are trying to achieve. Now, thank you very much, viewers. I was in conversation with Dan Moyo, who is the MDCT United States of America provincial chairperson. He also sits in the MDCT National Council. He and his team from the US and some members in Zimbabwe are challenging the EOC results, and they want to see them reversed. They have a number of issues that they're complaining about, and we will keep track and following this matter for you. This right here on The Situation Right Now. And I'm your host, Dara Blessed Mhlanga. Until next time, thank you for joining us.
Jere dzikawashoma muwiri mudoro wakura chinokanganiswa nenjere.